Hey class, how's it going? It's Coach Barba. Welcome to week 4 of virtual PE. This week is going to be a golf unit, and today we're going to start with putting, okay? So let's do a quick overview of the different types of clubs that you use depending on what part of the course you're on. Okay, so the first one is your driver. That's typically your longest one right here. This one, and then you'll see at the end of the week, we're going to do a cognitive test on the different distances and where the hole is specifically for the test. So driver, usually your long range, I hit that about 225 yards. So we're going to use these numbers for the test at the end of the week. Your wood, which is also long, but it's not as long as your driver. So I hit this one about 200 yards. Your irons, that's going to be your mid play. So they have numbers on them. So like 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, all that. We're gonna use my 7 iron because it's kind of in the middle. That's 150 yards. And then your wedges are gonna be these 3 clubs right here. So those are your short to mid distances. So maybe about maybe 10 yards to 100 yards, somewhere around there. We're just gonna say mine's about 100 yards. Okay, and then you have your putter. Your putter is the one you use on the green. That's where you don't have to take any big swings or anything like that. Okay, so, and then here's a basic layout of a hole. So you have your tee box, that's where you use your driver. Your fairway, which is everything kind of like in the red dash, that's like the safe area. And then these green dashes are on the side, it's called the rough. That's where golf is, or the grass is really thick and it's hard to hit the club out of that, and that's where you don't want to be. And then sometimes you have water, and then bunkers or just a sand pit. We call that the beach. That's the one beach you don't want to go to because it's very hard to hit that out of. And then you have your hole or your green, and then this flag or this pin is where you eventually want to get the golf ball into. So we're going to focus on putting, like I said today. So putting is specifically in this area, and even though it's typically the last thing you want to do on a course, or at the last thing you do at a hole, this is sometimes the hardest one because people miss a lot of strokes, or strokes is also worded as how many times it takes you to hit a ball into a hole. Okay, so a lot of people lose a lot of strokes in this area, so that's why we're going to focus on this first, get really good at it, and then progress to irons and drivers later down the week. Okay, so we're going to come over here to this little makeshift kind of putting set I have. So some of you guys may not have this at home, which is fine. Carpet works really well. It can act a little bit like the green. Cups as your hole, that can always work. If you have wood floors, that can work. It just try to hit it softly, otherwise it would bounce. And then if you don't have a putter, you can go Happy Gilmore and use a hockey stick. You can also use like a wiffle ball bat, even though it's not necessarily shaped the same way. You can even use a broomstick and take the bottom of the broomstick off, even though that's a little bit, it's not as wide. It's still, you can still do the same motion with it. Okay, and then for the skill cues that we have on the cues, we're line up, tick tock like a pendulum, and then head down. So I'm gonna go through those really quick. So when you line up, your shoulder's gonna face your target. So our target is that little hole right there. And then our feet are gonna face it straight as well. And the last part of lining up is your heart basically is going to be lined up with the golf ball. Remember, it's just slightly to the left of the center of your chest. Okay, so once you get there, grip. There's different ways to grip it. What I do is I make an L with my left hand. So if you swing left, it's the opposite. And then with my right hand, I put my index finger in between my pinky and my ring finger, and that's how I make my grip. Okay. So from there, when we swing our putt, we have 3 different options. You can come to the big toe, to the middle toe, or to the pinky toe, or just outside the foot, okay? That determines on how much power we're gonna get. You can see we're not that far, so we don't have to swing that hard, okay? Or have that much of a backswing. So, and then we're going to tick tock like a pendulum. We're not gonna try to bend our elbows up or anything, just a smooth swing, and head down. So you're actually watching yourself hit the ball before you look up. So here, and get into that hole. Good. So we want to get into this center hole right here. Not this. This is like the water like we used on the whiteboard, and then this is like the bunker. or the sand pit. So remember, just this hole right here. So Taven, you want to come and try out? You can go ahead and use this club. So we had Taven just try. Now we're gonna have Quinn just try. So Quinn, you remember the skill cues? We're gonna line up to the hole, so shoulders facing it, our feet are facing it. So go and step a little bit closer to the mat. There you go. And then remember our grip. So with your left hand, you're gonna crate now, and then your right hand, put your hands out. Place your index finger between your pinky and ring finger. There you go. And in between is where you put the club. So go ahead and try that on the club. So right here. Like this. So your thumbs are facing down. There you go. Good job. Okay, and then now you're going to swing back like a pendulum and then swing forward, okay?
Okay.
And then bring the club head right next to the ball. You go. In the water. No worries, it's gonna come back. All right, so what you did is when you so the camera can see, what you probably did is when you came across, you turned in a little bit. So try to keep the club face flat as you can so it can go straight, okay? So we hit it a little bit too hard. So with that, your club head went just past your feet. You want to try to keep it on the inside or at the very most to the middle of your feet, okay? Go ahead and try that one more time. Remember, keep the club face up to the ball, all the way up. There you go. There you go. Quinn finally made one. So, good job, Quinn. So, also the thing to know about this, these are adult side clubs, so it's a little bit hard for him to control the putt. But other than that, it was a great job, Quinn. How do you feel?
It feels good making it after you've tried a few times.
After you tried a few times, so that's the whole point. You get the skill cues down, and then you eventually you can make it in the right hole. Because remember, we don't want to get in the water, we don't want to get in the bunker. So your goal is to try to get it 8 out of 10 times, or just try 20, 30, however many times you want. Just try to get at least 8 out of 10, so that 80% mark. Remember, you can use the carpet, use a cup, because that can always work in case you don't have a little mat right here. So good job today, guys. Next time we're going to go over chipping.